Alright, good morning everybody. We're just getting started, another day out on the water here. Another actually really nice day again. We're back into the good weather after that bout of kind of sketchy weather, I guess, is the best way to describe it. So it's nice, cool, warm, cool wind, I guess, headed from the south right now, and it's keeping the bugs down, and we got a lot of whales in front of us to start the day, so that's a good sign. I'm Kyron McIver, and we're on the beluga boat here in Churchill, Manitoba, Canada, and we're out looking for beluga whales. And today I'm joined by Meg Hainstock. Some people might recognize her from earlier in the season, closer to the beginning actually. Like a month and a half ago now, eh?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's so good to be back. So hi everyone, I'm Meg Hainstock. I'm the Senior Director for Canada with Polar Bears International, one of the partners in this project for the beluga boat. And I love being out here, and I'm so excited to see the whales again.
Just gonna put the underwater camera down. I could hear them already through the boat, so yeah, they're singing loud today. So we're just gearing up here.
Looks like we have some heading our way.
Yeah, we're kind of headed towards the mouth now. We'll see, I can see a bunch of whales over that way too.
Excellent.
And we'll go find that clear water. See how it's looking out there today. We got one behind us right now. It's just under the prop there. Where we're at now, the water's kind of murky, but I think I could maybe see the tide line, so we'll make our way over that area. There we go, a big group behind us now. There's whales everywhere.
Yeah, we're surrounded.
I'll have to see what you think now, since you were here at the beginning. Like I've been talking, I noticed the behavioral changes in the whales. I think they've had the summer now and they're warming up to the boats, and because at the beginning, like, there wasn't as many whales, but we were just having troubles with them, like following us around or showing any interest in the boat.
Yeah.
And I've noticed now, like, even with the sea north, the whales are spending a lot more time, or they're a little more social.
Yeah.
And then they're also spending a lot more time at the launch, because I think they're expecting the kayakers and paddleboarders out.
That's great.
So see what you think, if you've noticed any changes or...
Cool. Yeah, I did notice more in around the launch when we were coming in.
Because the last time I talked about it yesterday, we were basically at the west side every day we were out on the water.
Yeah.
And we get an odd whale here and there follow us around. It was nothing crazy, like nothing like we've been getting through the rest of the summer. They just seemed a little more skittish or something.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, and I think they also recognize our boat too.
Yeah.
So they seem to spend quite a bit of time with us.
Well, it's the fun boat with the extra thing.
Yeah,
that
I know,
they can chew on and
the extra chew toy.
Chase.
Yeah, Greg just threw up the weather forecast for the day. It's supposed to be really nice. Yeah, there it's saying 19 degrees. That's 66 Fahrenheit. Got a Sea North boat coming up behind us. Looks like maybe they're headed over to the fort for a morning tour. I think I might just bring up the cam and then we'll maybe cruise over to where all those whales are at now. We got a large group on the port side, kind of in front, like a little ways out. We'll try to get their attention first or see how they're feeling this morning. So we got quite a few around right now. We'll see how social they are today. Looks to be mostly adults. There's a few juveniles mixed in there, but lately we've been seeing lots more adults. I'm told the calves and the mothers will usually start migrating before the adults do. So we'll see how that, as we're getting later in the season, I'm sure that'll become more obvious. One coming up under the boat here now. And they got some more behind us, it looks like. We're still not into that really clear water, but it's been hugging kind of the west side of the river here lately, and it looks like it is again today. They seem to be wanting to do their own thing for now, that group anyways. We got one behind us, two behind us. Oh, 3, 4. And we got a nice big group on the port side that are headed straight our way. We'll see if they just go by or if they flip around and hang out for a little bit. that's a lot of whales there.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, so they seem to be in a good mood this morning. They have been the last few days. We've been getting lots of attention.
That's great. I just
People.
had to pause there. My parents were so disappointed I didn't tell them I was on the boat and they couldn't
really?
watch this, so
Oh.
I had to pause and let them know I'm on.
Some of the people viewing were commenting yesterday that maybe the whales are spreading the word that there was a chew toy hanging out the back a couple days ago, and now they're all waiting to see if I hop back in. That one looks like a huge one.
Yeah.
Right behind the boat.
So have you've had a chance to talk about your experience, have you?
Yeah, we've gone over it, and I'll probably keep on blabbering about it until we
Yeah.
get off the boat, just because it's so awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, I was looking at the pictures again yesterday. They're really, because my perception, was obviously just looking down, and I got to see loads of whales, but I knew they were around me. But when you see the photos, like the snapshots from the above deck camera, I didn't realize I was in the center of the pod. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Totally engulfed by whales.
Oh, so it was, of course, yeah, you used this boat to do it.
Yeah.
Jocelyn towed you. That's so cool. Great idea. It's great for the viewers to have a different experience.
Yeah, it was totally different. We got to see completely new behavior, like that obviously we hadn't seen on this boat yet this year.
Yeah.
And then the whales just seemed to be super pumped about it too.
Yeah.
So it was lots of fun.
Excellent. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me now that they know this boat to be a certain thing.
Yeah.
And it's got the camera and the extra pieces on it, but to finally have something dangling out behind it was something
because they came so fast. Like how Jocelyn explained, usually it takes a few minutes. They'll take off when you enter the water, and then take some time before they warm up to you, or they want to come back and check you out. And even then, it's not often they'll get too close.
Right.
She kind of said, sometimes they're just skittish, sometimes they'll really keep their distance, but these ones were all over me the whole time. Yeah, I was basically, I bet you oh man, I don't even know, over half the time probably I was in contact with a whale, which is crazy, with one, touching me or pushing me or pulling me or...
It's amazing.
We're just about to cross over, I think, into some clear water. We'll see what kind of difference this makes here. Yeah, looks better. Got some snorkelers in the water in front of us, so we'll be mindful of that. Not sure where all those whales went. They seem to still be back out by that buoy, a few of them. Looks like they're getting some attention over there.
Yeah, that looks good. Good for them. Good experience. Where did they all go?
No, they just have a tendency to vanish.
Yeah.
And then they'll all just pop up again out of nowhere. We'll be keeping a close eye today just on the message board to see hopefully we won't be buffering or anything too much. Seems like things are good though so far. Oh, Greg posted some of the snapshots.
From your snorkeling the other day?
Yeah, with the whale. I like that one. April owl, I think, took that one. That's still kind of loading, but the whale was pushing up on my back legs, and I had my head up out of the water. I'm wondering what's going on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was a joke at first because I couldn't figure out what was pulling on my foot. For I don't know how many minutes that was at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, if it was a whale, I didn't want to spook it or, you know, look back or turn around, so I just let it happen, and I felt it slowly. It was getting more and more comfortable until eventually I was practically hugging it.
So
and then I think once the other ones kind of seen what was going on, then they all sort of pushing me around as beluga bumper cars. Lori's asking if I'll go into the water again this year. I want to. Like, if I can, I'll maybe talk to Sea North and see if they're available. It kind of depends on their schedule as well, or if anybody there is willing to join me. But I'd happily get in. I'd spend every day in there if I could for the rest of the year. We'll see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, I'd love to do it too if I could while I'm here.
Yeah, it's fun. And right now it seems like I've found too this summer that the adults, and mainly like the bulls, the big males, they're the funnest to have around the boat because they're more brave, I think. Like they get up closer, they spend more time with us, everything, and that's mainly what was hanging out that day when we were in the water.
That's great.
Yeah, there's some big whales like when they swim under you, and like we've been talking about the rails on their belly.
Yeah.
And I've been noticing, I don't know if it's just they're getting fatter, like, you know, prepping for the winter, but some of them are huge.
Yeah.
Like there is some monster whales in here.
Yeah.
So to see them up that close too is, they're comparing, Jocelyn was saying, I think she thought I was 5'9", but I'm 6'1", so she's mentioning just me because I was laying starfish in the water and there's whales coming right up alongside me, so you can get that's good perspective on how big these things are.
Yeah.
And they just dwarf me. They're ginormous.
That's so cool.
Lori's asking Meg when the bears really start to ramp up their appearances in town.
Well, I guess we have a few sightings already, but probably around mid-October is when
it really goes.
Things would pick up more.
Like they're saying this year there's less bears in town like right now than there usually are at this time of year.
Yeah.
And that's just because we've had the ice pack stick around a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's been good for the bears. They don't have to hang out on land quite as much.
And the ones that have been showing up, they're big fatties, so that's a really good sign too.
Yeah, a couple of females looking in really good condition. That's great.
I talked to Jeff again yesterday, like he was doing bear patrol out at the study center last night, so I was chatting with him and we were talking about that one that was in front of the PBI house. And so that's a 29-year-old female.
Never had calves, or did I hear, or cubs, I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if it was ever pregnant. Was one of the things, and they said they processed it so they have a tattoo on it or like a marking so that they can see. They just basically go back into their files. They could see things like the age of the bear, the like health records, I guess, like what it's been like over the years, how many times they've processed it, and they've been in contact with that bear 20 times. So it's 29 years old, and they said a average lifespan for a female polar bear in the wild is 25 years, is really good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So they said she's still in pretty good health. Like she's got a broken incisor, I think is what he said.
Okay.
And there's some obvious tooth wear, but that's a 29-year-old bear. Like he said, she's actually really healthy for her age. So
that's great.
That's always good to see.
Absolutely. It was nice that she was knocking on our door at the Polar Bears International house.
Yeah, she knew where she needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lori's saying too, I wonder how the whales would feel about a few people in the water. I think that's partially why I had the experience I did, was because it's just myself. Like the whales, obviously they're not going to come into a situation if they're feeling sketchy about it, or if there's any risk or nothing. So I think just myself in the water, they didn't have to pay attention to anybody else flapping around or doing things. So they were comfortable with approaching me just because I was the only one there.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a big part of why I got so much attention that day.
Yeah. I also like to think you're a pretty easygoing guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure the viewers have gotten to know that about you, and
yeah,
sometimes I think animals just sense that you're a calming presence.
Yeah, I was trying to put that out there when I was down. Put out that good energy, and maybe I don't know if that was it or what worked, but something happened.
Yeah.
I was humming to him a lot too. I figured, and once I started, and then I was getting, like I was laying starfish and I was humming to him, and then just everything worked out the way it did. I didn't want to stop in case I didn't know why they were
You didn't know that.
hanging out with me so much, so my voice like hurt at the end of it because I was making, I didn't want to stop humming the whole time.
And were you humming the same pattern?
Yeah, exactly. Just going, ooh, 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 ooh. Like that's what I started with. Because your voice is crackling down there, and I kept getting water in my snorkel, so that was the easiest noise for me to make.
Yeah.
And because people say sometimes if you try to emulate the noises they're making, because you can hear them squeaking down there, they'll respond, but I can't make those squeaky noises, so
yeah.
I just went with that one, and it seemed to work.
That's for sure.
So we got another group headed our way on my side, the starboard side.
Looks like a mix of juveniles and adults.
Yeah, I guess it depends with the boat. Like if they do, that's a theory, is they recognize the boat. So maybe if they're familiar and comfortable with us in the boat, then maybe they'd be okay with another person in the water, like two people.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess there's only one way to find out. We better start testing.
Absolutely.
Testing all these theories.
I'm up for that.
Yeah. I need to figure out how to put the boat in autopilot so I could just hop overboard every day. I know there's like trolling motors like the one that we have here. There's ones that you can get, like fishermen use them and stuff all the time, and they use GPS. You can program a trail in for them or whatever, and they'll just repeat that. So you can sit on the front of your boat and fish all day, and it'll just continue to go that exact same path.
Yeah.
But you still should have somebody on board. That obviously wouldn't work, but I've been thinking.
Yeah.
Looks like they're picking up the snorkelers.
So the little calves that we were seeing when I was here, they're growing, looks like.
There's tons of calves now. Like we've been seeing lots of them every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it still looks like, I don't know how long. Do you know when they stop giving birth? Like how late in the?
I would have expected them to stop by now.
Because we've still seen some really tiny.
Really?
And I wasn't sure what. We got some behind us.
There.
I wasn't sure what to expect. Like for how? See, there's a calf right there coming at us. For how fast they'd grow. But I mean, they're not huge. They put on a few pounds, it seems like, but it's surprising to think that winter's approaching and they're going to be heading up north, like doing that long migration.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of just doing their own thing today. Come check us out for a minute, and then they seem to move along. Got another one behind us now. We're back out of that clear water. Oh, there's that calf popping up just over there. Let's see, it should poke up again in a second. Or not, just because I said that. There, it'll come up here.
we go. Looks like an adult behind us. Oh, it's still just cruising by though.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a... Oh, I saw a little calf over there.
Oh, really? I think
Its little head bob.
tough to see the photos, but Sergeant Pepper got a photo of a calf. Meg, do you do any hands-on research with bears?
No, I haven't with polar bears. I have with black bears though in northern Ontario. So we were monitoring the populations with it was under the researcher Marty Obard with the Ministry of Natural Resources in Ontario, and we were doing live trapping. So it's kind of an interesting setup. So it's basically two big barrels attached together and a big sliding trap door, similar to probably if you guys have seen the traps that they use up here, the barrel traps. This was just more of a handmade job.
Huh.
And you put really stinky stuff at one end of the barrel. Like usually I think we were opening a sardine can and mixing it with peanut butter.
Oh,
Which
really?
is pretty gross.
Oh,
And yeah, the bears find that irresistible. So the black bear would go into the barrel, and of course it would trigger the trap door to close. And we were monitoring those traps very frequently. We didn't want the bear to be in distress in the barrel. And then the barrel has holes on the side, so you can inject the bear with something that would knock it out for, I think we had about half an hour to 45 minutes to process them.
Is it the same as what they do with the polar bears? When they sedate the polar bears, they don't put them right under. They keep them, it's kind of their loopy, right? They don't knock them right out.
Yeah, they're not quite knocked right out. We've got some juveniles and adults, I think, behind. Or that's all juveniles there.
Yeah, and there's a group right over here. We're kind of just in the mix, and they're all going in different directions, so
yeah,
tough to follow any. Well, these guys, maybe will head our way.
Nice group of adults, it looks like. Might follow us. Yeah, so with the barrel traps, once we had the bear, we would measure it. So we've got sort of a makeshift tripod. When you need to weigh a bear, it's really hard for any one person to just be able to lift it onto a scale. So we'd use a tripod to do that and get its weight.
Yeah, they're like a nice big bear will be, 300 and something pounds is like a big boar.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get too many. Actually, let's to be continued on that and let people just take in the whales here for a sec, and I'll explain more about the black bear study in a bit.
We got those adults hanging out behind us.
This is great. Yeah.
I got a nice big
They're
group.
seeing some good stuff underwater now.
Yeah, we're getting some photos. We're out of the nice clear water, but there wasn't much whale activity over there. Hopefully that'll change. They might be just cruising by. They went under us. I'm sure they'll probably pop up in front in a little bit.
So yeah, with the black bears, we'd take body measurements and check in on condition. Oh, it looks like we still have some whales under us. One's upside down. Blowing bubbles.
Just make sure. I'm going to start to loop around just so we don't start to buffer. Awesome, but we're looking good so far, so. Actually, the water's not too bad here.
No.
It's getting a little bit better. Tide's going to be rolling in, so.
Yeah, so once we took all the body measurements for the bears, we fitted them with a collar, radio collar, and so we could track their movements. And that was about it. They would wake up and
shake it off.
usually, you know, we wouldn't expect them to wake up while we were still working on them, but one day we had a juvenile, and I didn't realize this. It was the first time I got to see that a juvenile burns through the drugs a lot faster.
Quicker metabolism, or
Yeah.
they're just working harder.
So we were right in the middle of things, and it got right up on all fours.
Oh,
It was
serious?
like looking around at us, like, what's going on?
Holy.
So
how
we
long does it
just-
take when, say, to give it more sedative? How long does it take for it to affect the bear? Like, it's not like you guys could just stick it with another needle and it falls over.
I think we were concerned. We just decided that we didn't want to inject it again, and that you know, we had taken as much as we could and didn't want to burden the bear anymore. So
I'll let it take off.
yeah, the guy we were with, he had dealt with a lot of black bears and basically just kind of treated it like a dog. You know, if you're trying to stabilize a dog, and it was a small juvie, so yeah, we just wanted to make sure it didn't try to run or anything and harm itself.
Oh, yeah.
So just kind of handled it for a little while and watched it, and once it was a little bit more stable, let it go.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, that was a bit of a shocker.
Well, it's funny. We were looking at the leg hold traps outside of town for the bears, the polar bears here.
Yeah.
And I guess with polar bears, they so it's a leg hold. It's kind of like a snare. The bear will go in and then go to eat some whatever the bait is, and then it just gets stuck. And I guess polar bears, once that happens, they just lay down. They don't fight it. They don't do nothing. Once they look, oh, I'm caught. And they said they just plop down and they just sit there. So that's pretty easy, I guess, for them to, you know, if they have a problem bear that they need to catch.
Yeah.
That makes it pretty ezy, and then you don't have to worry about the bear, you know, harming itself or freaking out or anything. It's just, I was surprised though, for such a huge animal that it's like, all right, whatever, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Some animals, you know, will flail around and fight,
Or
and
chew a
others
leg
will
off,
just sort of,
yeah.
Yeah, I remember we were doing a study on common eider, and they're, you know, huge ducks. So you can deal with other birds, and if you catch them, they'll flail and fight, and you just feel so bad for them.
Yeah.
But with these eiders, once you got them, they just, you know, they would lay their head back on your chest and just say,
Really?
I give up. Do whatever you need to do.
That's pretty funny. One of the guys in town was telling me, we were talking about those snares. So then they sedate them, and that's how I knew that they don't put them totally under. They don't really want to hang out with us today.
Yeah, they're just doing their own
We can't go
thing.
too much further. We'll start to buffer. And yeah, I guess one of the COs, they said they were on the highway the one day, and so the bear jail's out by the airport, and the truck just went flying by on the highway, and they looked like, oh man, they're in a hurry today, and they looked, and there was a bear sitting up in the back of the truck looking around, and the same kind of thing, you know, that started to the anesthetic or whatever they used started to wear off, and the bear woke up, and it was still disoriented, so they were trying to hurry to get it out there so they can get it into the pen. And but yeah, one of those. They just said it looked crazy because they had this huge polar bear in the back, and it's sitting up in the box of the truck looking around.
Yikes.
But Jack, one of the guys in town who's one of the bear patrols, they said it's crazy to watch how he works with the bears. Like, he's done thousands and thousands of bears over the years, and he just knows them so well now. So they said it's really crazy to watch him handle them because he's just very aware of their behavior. And
yeah, it takes a lot of patient observation to figure an animal out. But I think once you can catch on to those more subtle cues in their behavior, it's quite a thing to see.
Yeah.
People that can become bear whisperers or cat whisperers, dog, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I was saying, like, Valaria, the lady we talked to, the vocalization expert, because since we got the speaker, I try to listen to see if you can notice you can recognize sounds, but you don't necessarily notice the behavior, like,
Yeah.
that's associated with the sound. So I was just saying, for her to have, like, they've got, I don't know if it's just her or if it's other researchers involved, but they figured out roughly 11 or 12 of their vocalizations where they know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Just the countless hours it take where you're
Oh yeah.
just listening to the whales and, noting down their behavior, what they're doing, like, in order to be confident enough to say that you know what the sound means.
Yeah. Yeah, and with such a big repertoire,
Yeah.
And you can hear at any one time, as the viewers can tell when we have the hydrophone in, you can hear all sorts of different calls going on. So it takes a lot of effort to tease everything apart, figure out what we think they're trying to communicate.
But they say the whales here are a lot more vocal than, like she was saying, in the St. Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
It's more difficult to gather data. I don't think there's as much whales, not even close. And then they're just not as active or as vocal.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it would have been nice if we would have got her out on the boat, or if she was able to come back. But I think she's actually headed over to the St. Lawrence River next, I think is what she said.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, she sure loved it here, though. I could see her coming back, and we'll have to get her on for sure. It's fun to see researchers come up here who have studied whales before, and I think they hear about Churchill and the river and how unique the whale behavior is in relation to boats and people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they really get it until they're here, and I think it's just astounding.
It's
for
hard to
researchers
explain.
who have been all over the world and haven't seen behaviors like this.
Even before I came up, you look, there's 3,000 to 4,000. Like, that's a lot of whales, but even that, you get the facts, you get the numbers, and people tell you stories, and it's difficult to perceive, like, what it's like out here.
Yeah.
Because then once you get out on the water, you're like, holy crap, there is a lot of whales, and holy crap, they come right up to the boat, and it kind of blows your mind.
Yeah, for sure. So you're not really seeing many right now, but we'll
Pardon?
keep an eye out. I was just saying I'm not seeing many whales right now.
No. I'm just going to head a little further upstream.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and got a comment about hearing the whales. Yeah, so we did hook up the speaker that we have now. So, like Greg was saying on there, we're able to hear them, which is super fun for me. I'm happy we got this running.
Yeah.
But even besides that, on really calm days when the whales are making a lot of noise, you can hear it, like, coming through the Zodiac. Sometimes it's faint, but you could still
You can feel
hear it. Yeah. When I was in the water, I couldn't believe how loud it was.
It's deafening.
It was nuts. Yeah. Like, in the fact that they're able to say when they're all, there's some back there, when they're all hunting, like, say during a feeding frenzy, and there's a couple hundred whales, and they're just making noise, like using their echolocation to eat those fish. I don't get how they can tell the difference between all the sounds that are going to be bouncing back at them.
Yeah, because they're pretty densely packed in when they're doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, little calf behind us. Looks like they're going port side. This is port side.
Yeah.
I always have to remind myself.
Yeah.
Looks like there's a whale right beside us here,
Oh yeah.
port side. Maybe coming under us.
Turning around.
Towards the camera, maybe? I don't know.
Pardon?
I was just wondering if it was heading towards the camera or...
Oh. Yeah, those groups, they took off, went into hiding. If it stays really slow, then we'll maybe...
Oh, there's a little calf.
we'll head up to Cockles Point or something.
Sounds good.
It's a little bit wavy, but it shouldn't take us too long to get over there.
Looks like some pintails maybe flying overhead.
Oh, yeah, we're seeing way more birds now.
Yeah,
Like
cool.
different ducks and stuff in the water, and the terns aren't. They're supposed to be migrating soon, I guess.
Yeah.
Fairly shortly, Jim was saying. But yeah, we're seeing tons of Canadas are everywhere now. They're all over the place. And the snow geese are moving, and
Cool.
maybe we can go. Not sure if we should go back down there where those whales
It's hard to
are.
say. These guys aren't showing a ton of interest, but
No, not yet. There's a group
huge
over there.
Group over there, maybe. So I had a great Churchill night last night. I arrived in the morning and wanted to come up here for the CNSC, the Churchill Northern Research or Study Center's 40th anniversary. So yeah, people from all over the place came up to celebrate with them and had a great night helping them fundraise, and a great band, the Elliott Brood was playing, and yeah, it's just a really good night
I
visiting
listened to
with
some
the
of their
community.
music this morning.
Yeah.
Sounded pretty good.
They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were 2 of the band members were there. It wasn't the full band, but they're just amazing voices and great musicians. We're playing all sorts of different instruments, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, they were showing some interest in coming out with us today, but it didn't end up working out, and they've got to fly back today at 2, so it's too bad it didn't work out.
Yeah,
But
maybe in the 80th CNSC reunion.
yeah. They talked about maybe coming back up. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
It's like just listening to their music, I thought they'd be a really cool band to play at the Tundra.
For sure.
Like they get bands that come in and play there, and I feel like that'd be right up their alley. Like it'd suit the pub really well.
Totally. Yeah.
They're like folk alternative folk.
Alt
Is that what
folk?
it is? Or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no, it sounded good though. You can watch their music videos and hear some of their music on YouTube is where I went to check it out.
Yeah, check them out. Elliott Brood, really good musicians.
I like it. It reminded me, like, there's a band that I like, Honey Honey it's called, and
Yeah.
they're sort of same genre, but
Yeah,
like banjos and violins and things like that.
cool.
That group seems to just be hanging out in that same spot there.
Yeah.